Hi there, welcome back to another video. My name is Monica of Millie and Monica over on Poshmark, where I am a full-time seller, and today I have another What Sold Quickly video for the second half of December, and actually the last What Sold Quickly video for 2019. So if you are at all interested in reseller related content, selling clothing online, and of course making money online, please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, and of course please give this video a thumbs up. That really helps me out here on YouTube. And so just to begin with, a quick sale for me over on Poshmark is some items that are going to sell within a 2-week time frame. So a lot of these items sold within that 2 weeks of being listed, and many actually sold in much less time than that. So not only will I be sharing items that sold quickly on Poshmark, but I will also be sharing items that sold quickly on eBay. So if you've been following along now for a little bit, I have been selling on Poshmark now for 3 years, full-time for a year and a half, and I just started dabbling in eBay, so eBay is very new to me. I'm enjoying the learning curve and the learning aspect of eBay because it is pretty different, and I feel good about what's going on over there. So stay tuned throughout this video because I will also be talking about eBay. And so oddly enough, I'm going to start this video with 4 sales that were all very similar in nature, and they were actually something that I talked about recently in a haul video. I said they weren't selling very well for me, and then I listed a bunch and a bunch sold quickly. So these items are all vintage Levi's. They're all sizes 30 to 32. So I think there's 30, 31, and 32 was the size range for these 4 pairs of Levi's. And I'm lumping them together because they're all very, very similar in nature. So, and they all sold between $30 and the $40 mark. Now, I think I'd mentioned in that video that I felt like the price was coming down on them, and maybe because there was just more available and whatnot. And I still feel like that's true. Normally, I would expect at the very low end $40 for a pair of vintage Levi's, but I did accept a couple of $30 offers just because I wanted to move them quickly, and because I know that they had been sitting a little bit longer for me. So I was happy to see them all go quickly. Again, they were between the sizes of 30, 31, and 32. A couple pairs were very distressed, had been very well worn and loved, and mostly they were the tapered straight leg styles, very structured denim, though high rise. And yeah, so those were some fun sales. I was definitely happy to see that they are still selling. Anyway, moving on. Next I have this very fun and unique vintage cardigan. So it was floral embroidered. It was kind of a semi-crop. It was a kind of a blush peachy pink, and I just absolutely loved it. So it was the brand Liz Claiborne. It was her vintage style, and that sold quickly with a vintage scarf, like neck wrap scarf, that I'd had in my closet for quite a while. This buyer offered me $25 for the bundle, and I did accept. And next we have this vintage, it was like a 90s style, very chunky knit wool sweater, but it was very unique in the sense that it had these like wolves kind of embroidered or appliqued into them, and then the scene itself on the sweater, the design on it I should say, was kind of a mountain scene, so it had some like woodland like trees and stuff on it. Very unique sweater. It was a men's extra large, and it sold really quickly for $36 via offer to liker. So when I do say offer to liker, if you're new to this channel, it just is where Poshmark allows me, the seller, to offer the liker a discounted price with discounted shipping, and in that case I offer the $1.80 shipping discount. And in this situation, the buyer accepted my discounted price and discounted shipping and purchased the item. So that was a very fun sale. Next, we have this Calvin Klein color block sweater. It was a little bit longer length, and it sold with an item that had been listed in my closet for a little while, and it was an UMG kind of longer style, sweater type vest. I don't really know what they're called, but anyway, that's kind of how I described it. Very boho, it had fringe detail, and together the bundle sold for $30. And then moving on, we have more vintage jean sales. So this was a bundle of 2 pairs of vintage jeans. They were both a higher rise, like kind of vintage mom jeans. So the first pair was a vintage Riders, and then the second pair was a vintage Lee. They were both tagged size 18, and they sold together for $40. I was really happy to see those go off quickly and together. I did find them together. So I'm assuming that those two came from the same owner. So anyway, next we have this Zara one shoulder crushed velvet bodysuit. So a few hauls back, I had found kind of a bunch of bodysuits, and I thought I'd give them a try over on Poshmark, and quite a few of them have already sold. So this one was a size small, and it sold for $13 via customer offer. Moving on, we had another pair of vintage jeans. So this was the brand Chic, and they were a high-rise acid wash, which is just so fun to find, and they sold for $20 via offer to Liker. And then we have another bundle. So the first item in this bundle was the item that sold fast. They were a pair of DV from Target. They were an espadrille like slides. They were spotted kind of animal print, and they sold with a couple of older items. So the first older item was this kind of boho floral embroidered belt, and then a vintage jean jacket that had been listed in my closet for quite a while. And so together, all those items sold for $40 via customer offer. Then we have this men's Patagonia sweater. It was a full zip-up hooded sweatshirt. I've had this for a little bit, but I held off on listing it because it had some pilling, and I did my best to remove the pilling, but once I listed it, I got a lot of interest right away, and then it sold super fast for $32 via offer to Liker. So because it did have some of that pilling in wear, I was happy to see it go for that $32. Patagonia, I definitely can see maybe getting a little bit more for, but in this case, I was very happy with that, and it was a size extra large. And then we have this, a very similar situation to the Patagonia, this Rebecca Taylor cable knit cardigan. It was a longer duster-like length, kind of blanket style because it was a very heavy knit. But it also had some wear and some pilling, and I did my best to remove what I could, but it still had some light wear. So I didn't list this as high as maybe I normally would. Rebecca Taylor cardigans like this can go for quite a bit. But I did accept a $40 offer on this very shortly after listing. I was very happy with that offer and happy to see it go. It was a size small. Next, this one's going to be a little bit of a story. So it's a self-portrait, new with tags. It was called the Blue Denim Frill Dress. It was mini length, so fun. It buttoned down the front, but also had a side zipper. But let's talk a little bit about this dress, because I have had this dress for well over a year. I've relisted it several times, and I'd originally wanted, I think, been asking around the $150 mark. Now, about a year ago, I listed this item over on TradeZ, and I listed a few other items on TradeZ and kind of forgot about it, right? Now, a few months ago, like just a couple months ago, actually, it sold on TradeZ for, I don't actually remember. It was maybe around the $80 to $90 mark. It sold over on TradeZ. I'd never sold anything on TradeZ before. I was not familiar with how TradeZ works. But needless to say, once the buyer got the item, she waited several days, like a pretty long time, which I'm not quite sure still how that worked out, because this item was gone from my home for quite a while, like probably 2.5, 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden I get an email out of the blue saying that the item was being returned to me. I had really no other information leading up to it. It was just the item was being returned because the buyer didn't like it. And I was kind of put off by that. Then I looked into TradeZ policies a little bit more. Apparently, a buyer can return an item after 4 days of receiving it, which I'm still wondering about that because it definitely seemed like she had it for more than 4 days. But regardless, it was returned to me. The return situation I was not a fan of. The tracking said it had been delivered and I didn't receive the dress for quite a while actually, and I had emailed Tradesy about that. Overall, I was very, very disappointed in my Tradesy experience, and I will not be selling anything in the near future over there due to this experience. I just wasn't a fan of the whole situation. So regardless, I relisted this dress once again and really lowered my expectation on the price. This dress did retail for over $500. It was a size 2, so I'm not sure if it was the size or whatnot that really affected the sale of this dress. But I did lower my expectations and ended up just selling this dress for $72 on Poshmark, which hopefully it's the end of this dress as far as I know. But anyway, moving on to our next sale is this Harley Davidson wool turtleneck sweater. There was no size tag in this sweater, so I did my best to estimate that it was around a size medium, and this sold same day for $16 via customer offer. I did want a little bit more, but at the same time, there was no size tag. The material was kind of a fluffy, overall fluffy material, and I couldn't really tell if it was due to wear or if that was just the nature of the sweater. So I decided just to let it move on quickly. And then moving on, I have another pair of DV shoes. However, this is the DV Dolce Vita. Should not be confused with the DV for Target because they are a different quality. And anyway, so this was a Dolce Vita. They're a blue suede Oxford like buckled detail shoe, and they were size 8.5, and they sold for $32 via offer to Liker. Anyway, the next is a really big bundle. So this is a 6-item bundle, and this bundle was purchased from me from Shani Sells. I'm going to link her down below because she actually did an unboxing video of these items. So if you want to see a little bit more about this bundle, if you're curious about the items themselves, you can actually go watch her video, which I'll link down below. So you can watch that video, which was really fun, and check out her channel just as well. So anyways, she purchased this item from me, 6 items, and 4 of the items were actually items that sold quickly. So I'll go through each of the items. So the first was this pair of Topshop Moto denim overalls, size 4. They were such fun overalls. I love selling overalls. I think I say that all the time. Next was this really fun Peruvian style zip up sweater. It had llamas on it. The detailing was great and it was so incredibly soft. Next was this Free People kind of oversized hooded lace sweater. Very fun with the lace detailing and kind of the inside out sweatshirt detail. And she also purchased this Fashion Nova bodysuit and the chain kind of print detail. So those were items that all had sold quickly. And then the next 2 items were items that had been listed in my closet for a little while. So this next one was actually a sweater that I'd purchased for myself based on style at a consignment store, and then upon getting home I realized what it was. So it was actually the Jet Set Diaries Chelsea plaid sweater, and once I realized that it was actually the Jet Set Diaries, because I'd never seen that label before, I decided that I shouldn't keep it and that I should actually resell it. And so it had this great kind of metallic weave to it, large bell sleeves. It was such a fun sweater, and that probably had been listed closer to a month and a half. And then the last item is an item that I've had for quite some time, and this was a home decor piece, and it really needed to find the right buyer, and I'm so happy that she purchased it. So this was a vintage floral water hydrant wall hanging, super unique and fun. And yeah, so all 6 of those items were purchased for $150, and like I said, please go check out her video because I think you'll really enjoy seeing her unboxing. Then moving on, we have this pair of Cynthia Rowley lace-up Oxford, a gray suede leather, and they sold for $28 via offer to Liker. Moving on was another item that actually came from my personal closet. So this was a Banana Republic maroon kind of marled knit sweater, kind of a semi-crop length, and I just wasn't wearing it quite enough to justify keeping it, especially since it is the winter season, it's the perfect time to list it. But it was just a very nice, cozy knit sweater. And that sold together with an older belt that had been listed in my closet. So it was a braided leather belt, and together the two items sold for $30. And then we have this. This was probably one of my favorite jackets, vintage jacket finds, actually, in a really long time. So this was a 70s style plaid wool jacket, and it was a shorter length button up, and it just had that great 70s pointed collar, just super unique and fun. I do believe it was a men's item, and I stated that in the listing, but I listed it under the women's because I felt like a woman definitely could wear it and pull it off very well. And so that sold for $30 via customer offer. And then moving on, this blouse I've been holding on to for a while. I've definitely tried to stain treat it a few times, but it was a vintage Fred Leighton lace balloon sleeve button up blouse. And it just had so many amazing details. It had the lace detail, it had the large balloon sleeves. Just so much about it was amazing. However, it did have some light stains, some light like discoloration up along the top, and then it had some stains on the sleeves. So the style of it, though, was just absolutely fantastic. And I did accept a $30 offer on it just due to the wear on it. I would have maybe wanted more for it had that not been the case, but still happy to see that go off quickly. And then next we have this vintage button fly another pair of vintage jeans. So it's a vintage button fly pair of jeans. I believe they were the brand Mustang. And these were more of a straight leg jean. I do believe they had been hemmed, so I included that in the description, but they sold quickly for $20. And this next piece also deserves a little bit of background. So this was a Free People retail arbitrage piece, which if you watch my videos, you know I don't do a whole lot of that. I shop mostly at the Goodwill outlet bins, regular thrift stores when they have sales, but retail arbitrage, now I can't even speak, is really not my thing. And so what happened with this is I was actually in TJ Maxx, and I was shopping for Christmas gifts for a family, and I decided that I needed to look through the jackets for some reason. And lo and behold, this was the first thing I found. So this was the Free People Golden Quills military parka. So kind of the anorak style jacket. It did have some like bleach splatter on it. And it had great detailing along the sleeves. It was just classic Free People, absolutely stunning and beautiful. So I did pay $40 for this piece because it really has some really great comps on it. And anyway, it was size extra small, if I didn't already say. I did purchase it then for the $40, and I listed it close to the $200 range based on comps. However, I did accept a $120 offer on it, which might seem low to you, but I was just really happy to make a really quick flip on that. So after Poshmark fees, I did earn $96 for a total profit of $56, which I was really happy with. I know that might seem low to some, but for me that was a really great quick flip, and I was happy to see that go quickly, and the person absolutely loved it. The buyer loved it, and she was really happy. So that was a retail arbitrage for the win. Again, that's not something I am very comfortable doing, so I'm very select these days with that. So next was this pair of Gymshark. They were the Energy Seamless leggings. This was a new brand to me. I mean, I've heard of Gymshark, but I've never found it before. So the comps ranged greatly, as with many things, or many brands, but they did sell quickly for $30, which I was happy with. Next we have this BCBG generation, or however you say that. They were another pair of kind of that Oxford style shoe. These were a gray silver metallic style shoe. They didn't really looked to have been worn at all. These sold for $20 via customer offer. They were size 9.5. This next top was a cabbie top. I don't feel like I've picked up very much cabbie recently, but this was a cabbie tank, and it was the gelato watercolor vented tank. It was a size large and it sold within a few days for $18. This was one of those situations where there was several of these listed on Poshmark, but I think the size kind of helped me out or something, but it did sell really quickly. I was really happy with that $18 turnaround. And next we have another bundle. So this bundle is of a vintage Expose was the brand. So Expose was the brand. Cheetah print blouse. It was like kind of a semi-sheer. I love these cheetah print tops. This was a button down, and it's sold with these B. Mikowski leather flats. Super great condition. I love finding a really great leather flat. I feel like it's sometimes kind of hard with flats because they can get a lot of scuffing. But this pair was really nice, and they were a size 9. Together, the bundle total was $45. And now the next two items that sold quickly were items from my ThreadUp 25-piece shoe rescue box. I will link that video down below as well if you want to watch it, because these were the first 2 pairs of shoes to sell from that box. So the first pair was the Merona rubber duck boots. The upper was actually a coated leather, which was fun. They were size 7 and they sold for $18. And then the second pair was this pair of Guess. They were kind of a brown tan suede leather. They were a lace-up stiletto. I've actually sold very similar style of heels to this in different brands, so I was actually very excited to see this pair of heels because, again, based on the style, I knew that they would sell. They did receive one, I sent out an offer for $33 in the discounted $1.80 shipping discount, and it was accepted. They were size 7.5, if I didn't already say. And so those were 29 Poshmark sales. And so now we're going to move into the eBay sales. I am just kind of pleasantly surprised, I guess, and shocked with eBay. What's kind of selling over there has really been interesting. I will say, I know in one video, I think it was a vlog video, I shared that I'm using Vendu to cross list. I'm not sponsored by them by any means. That's what I've been using because it's been free. I've heard that will change sometime here in January. I haven't looked at the pricing at all for Vendu, but I'm really liking it, except for the past couple days because it hasn't been working. I have reached out to them and, talked to them about my issues. I don't know why it's not working, but I haven't been able to list anything for a few days. So hopefully that gets back up and running properly so I can continue to use the service. Or I will have to look into List Perfectly, which I have not used yet, but that is another service for cross-listing. But anyways, I have 11 items that sold really pretty fast over on eBay. I'm really happy with all of these sales. So these 11 items are all the items that have actually sold in the past 2 weeks. So yeah, let's look at these items. So we have this vintage Fair Isle wool crew neck sweater. This was actually an item from my own personal closet that I just wasn't wearing, and I figured I really needed to let it go this season instead of holding it onto it for another year. So this was just one of the most beautiful Fair Isle sweaters I've found. And it sold for $36 over on eBay. On eBay currently, I do all buyer paid shipping, so all of these purchases buyer did pay shipping. Next was this pair of vintage Durango leather lace-up Western style boots. They had little fringe kilty detail on the toe. I love picking up these style of Western boots. They do really well for me, have historically done well for me over on Poshmark. Sometimes they do take a little bit longer to sell, but I'm definitely okay with it because I always get a good return. So these sold for $60 on eBay, buyer paid shipping, and they were size 8.5. Next was this American Eagle mock neck kind of boxy sweater, and it was kind of a kind of ivory off-white marled knit, and it sold for $20. And then we have this Banana Republic merino wool cashmere blend tan cardigan. So I love selling cardigans, and this was a size medium and sold for $25. This next piece, this was a hard one. This was a really hard one to let go. And I found this, and when I found this, it did have some holes in it. So this was the Anthropologie of Kimmy and Kin llama printed open front cardigan. This is a rare piece. Now, it did have some holes when I found it. I was able to stitch them up and it looked pretty good. Otherwise, it really didn't have any wear. It just had a couple holes in it, which was kind of random. But I love this piece. It looked fantastic on. It fit so well. It was so cozy. And I had a really hard time parting with it at first. And so I finally decided, after wearing it a couple times just to the post office, because that's really the only place I go, that I needed to really just part with it, and because comps were just so amazing. So anyway, I listed it over on Poshmark and on eBay, and I received a $130 offer on it on eBay, and I gladly accepted. I really couldn't ask much more for that. I mean, in this situation. So I was really happy with that sale. Still a little sad. I don't think I'm attached to most things, but I was kind of attached to that sweater. So maybe someday I'll find it again. Next we have this universal thread, green kind of chunky cable knit balloon sleeve sweater. This again was from my personal closet, and it sold for $14. Then we have this Pendleton mock neck. I believe it was a wool sweater. And it sold for $25 and it was a size large. Then we have this pair of Victoria's Secret. They were the VSX Sport leggings. They were size large and they sold for $21. And then we have this pair of Frye shoe. They have a block heel. But these had quite a bit of wear on them. I did, polish them up and stuff like that. But if you'd watched a recent video where I'd show them, they did have some wear, and I did list them around the $50 mark and was happy to accept a $30 offer on them just due to wear. Normally I feel like Frye's can go for a good deal of money, but in this situation I was just happy to see them go to someone who can give them a little bit more life. And then we have this next sale I'm actually really, really excited about. And I'm hoping to see what will happen with eBay and kind of the dress sales, because I feel like my dress sales have really slowed down on Poshmark. So I really need to get a lot more of my dresses listed on eBay, because this Ralph Lauren evening dress was absolutely gorgeous. And it was a sequin, kind of rose gold sequin dress, and it sold for $50 over on eBay, and it was a size 4. And then my last eBay sale was also kind of a random sale. This was a brand my friend Marissa told me about, and I really had no knowledge of it before. So it's the Massimo Dutti men's. They're a khaki pant, and so they're a size 34. Again, this was a very new to me brand. I thought I'd give it a try, and they sold for $25 on eBay. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing what items sold quickly for me over on Poshmark and eBay, and I cannot wait to show you more of what is selling in 2020. So I will see you next time.